Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video is yet another chapter in these damn KASPA ASIC wars. We just saw iceriver's KS7 just a few weeks ago. We now have news of Bitmain's KS7. So yes, they're keeping the same name. For whatever reason they decided to do that. And this thing is a beast. This is now definitely the new king, both in terms of overall hash rate, efficiency, and it's a pretty significant difference, right? So we'll talk about it. We'll talk about all the details, which we have specs, all that good stuff. We'll compare it to the iceriver unit and just kind of give our overall thoughts on KASPA ASIC mining as a whole. Okay. If that sounds good, guys, stay tuned. Let's get right to this thing. So here we go again, right? Back to what it feels like it was constantly for a while, where it was like every month a new release, new release, new release. The thing is now we're now in the kind of the final stretch, right? At this point, we don't have all these other random manufacturers. It's now to the point where it's just Antminer and iceriver. Okay, before we had the Windminer and IB Link and Dragon Ball and all this nonsense, but it's just the strongest will survive, right? So then at this point now it's the two, which have been in reality the predominant two, right? So now currently this is the new KS7, so 40 terahash, 3080 watts, 77 joules a terahash, basically doubling almost exactly the efficiency of the KS5, right? Which is more of an expected evolutionary upgrade as far as the chips go, as far as efficiency goes, which is more typical. I know there were rumors of like a 80, 90, 100 terahash unit, which kind of didn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense for it to go 5x, especially from a Bitmain unit. It's one thing from a gold shell to like a Bitmain or something of that sort, but from a Bitmain to Bitmain on a generational level, it's typically not that exaggerated, right? So this is more in line with what we're expecting. So again, 40 terahash, 3080 watts, 5,600 bucks. So yes, it does say $8,000 a unit, but as we have seen for the past years, that's not really the price. The MSRP, the street price, is going to be usually within 10% of the after coupon price, right? Which the coupons you can get through their giveaways. They do also have an official coupon platform, being bitfufu.com, for any guys who are interested. Most of us in the States, though, do not care because we don't order from Bitmain directly. We typically order through resellers, right? But from what we've known, from what we've seen forever now, the street price is the coupon price, the after coupon price. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. Now, there's always a lot of confusion with it, but we've seen time and time again. Typically, that street price will be anywhere within the usually like 10% of that price. If it's a more hyped unit, obviously it'll be higher. And potentially over time can go a little bit lower, but typically the lowest it'll be is at that coupon price, right? Unless time goes by and they have to reduce. Okay, so sales start today. They started today this morning, and it's going to ship before May 31st, meaning maybe May 30th, right? We know typically it's right at the end, and if there's no delays, right? Which everything going on with the tariff situation, do not be surprised to see delays of any sort. Again, that's a whole nother shit show that really deserves its own video, but we'll stick to just this guy for now. So let's talk about it. Let's compare it to the competition, right? Which in this case is the iceriver unit, which again was just announced a few weeks ago, being 30 terahash, 3,500 watts. So immediately right off the bat, higher wattage, being in the mid threes, so 3,500 watts, and a big chunk less in overall hash rate, being 30 terahash. Okay. You see the efficiency difference, 116.7 joules a terahash in comparison to the 77 joules a terahash. Okay, so overall, it's about a 33% improvement, okay, which is pretty significant. Okay, it's not like generational, but that is a hefty chunk of change. So now let's look at price points. So this guy, again, usually prices within 10% of that $5,600. Okay, so currently Nhash has it at $6,100. Can it go up from here? Sure. Can it go down a few more $100? Also sure, right? Just depending on how this thing sells. Okay. Price on the KS7 unit, MSRP was $5,000. Okay, and this is where things get notably different and why the advantage is 100% with the Bitmain unit. It's definitely the superior unit. Even just comparing apples to apples, let's say they were the same hash rate, same everything, the iceriver unit, in my opinion, would need to be cheaper just because, again, Bitmain is their overall more proven unit in terms of reliability, durability, parts replaceability. The Bitmain unit is superior. right? At the end of the day, that's not an opinion thing. It's just the fact, okay? So again, pricing, this is where things definitely on the iceriver side need to change, okay? To me, the $5,000 was already somewhat overpriced. And now definitely in comparison to this guy being $5,600, or we'll compare it at the base $6,000 price range, definitely needs to go down further. Because in reality, yes, the MSRP of this unit is higher than this one, but if we break it down to cost per terahash, they're equal. And performance-wise, they are not equal. Okay, so the price shouldn't be equal. So just to break it down easily, the 30 terahash unit, it's about $150 a terahash, bringing you to ballparking $4,500. Same thing here. 40 terahash multiplied by 150 bucks a terahash brings you to the $6,000 price point. Okay, so the price per terahash is equivalent. Performance here is not equivalent. So therefore, the iceriver unit price definitely needs to go down. If you're interested in one of these units, it does not make sense to go with this unit because it should not be priced the same. Okay, in my opinion, a more fair price, probably a big chunk down, right? If we're saying efficiency is about 30% difference, then the price should probably be about 30% difference. So instead of it being about 150 a terahash, should probably be about $100 a terahash or so, give or take around 3,000 bucks. Now, will that happen? Maybe, maybe not. We know in the past iceriver has been aggressive with the price cuts when they have a reason to. In this case, in my opinion, it definitely is a reason to. Because again, if you're willing to spend 4,500 bucks on this thing, you might as well spend $1,500 more and get the unit that is much more efficient, better overall, potentially more reliable and durable overall. Okay. So if you're interested in either one of these units, I would kind of wait because they are going to go through this thing, right? We've seen it time and time again where this happens. In this case, iceriver did come out first, Bitmain then followed. Don't be surprised to see iceriver kind of price with the market. Okay, a lot of it's going to be dependent on sales. Obviously, if this thing is selling at this price point, they're not going to reduce the price. But if sales aren't too hot, realistically, fair market price would 100% be lower. Okay, so if you're interested in any of these, whether it's this, that one, even the little KS7 Lite, I would 100% wait a little bit because chances are it is going to be repriced. Now, will it be something where they do with like the A0 where they're going to do a coupon thing, or is it just going to be reduced on the next batch? Time will tell, right? Potentially they may wait till the next batch because this guy's not going to be shipping till the end of May anyway. Okay, really hard to say. One big thing to factor, let's look at profitability. Overall profitability on, this is at a 10-cent kilowatt hour for the KS7, $7 a day versus the iceriver KS7, $2.43 a day. Okay. So again, if you're looking at this thing objectively, obviously the one that makes more profit is definitely going to be more appealing. Okay. And even long-term wise, again, this is the hard part with buying any of these big boy ASICs kind of this late in the cycle, right? Depending on what happens, will it repeat the previous cycles as far as timeline goes? It's hard to say because in reality, if it does, it is a very small window for like good profitability. Okay, all this tariff situation, which it looks like all the dates people are kind of throwing out is they're expecting like a 90 days plus for things to be finalized. And until deals are in place, specifically more so with those bigger countries, especially China, Canada, Mexico, EU, etc., until those deals are in place, we may be doing the sideways bullshit for 90 days. And if the cycle does fall into its typical window and does peak sometime between September to October, November, not a whole lot of time to mine profitably. Okay, so just factor that in. You could be on the other side of the coin or the other side of the fence where you think that it's going to be an extended cycle, which honestly, it's hard to say what the hell's going to happen, right? This tariff thing is really changing things quite a bit, but overall, as we look at the profitability, this is one thing to factor again is the yield, right? So current profitability at KASPA's current price, which is about 7 cents, that's what the profitability is. Okay, factor in that maybe within a couple months, KASPA's price kind of goes back into the range where it was between 12 to 15 cents. For easy math purposes, if it just goes back to 15 cents, which to me is not unreasonable, especially if things start to pick up. Obviously, hopefully the peak will be definitely higher. But even if it does average out for quite a while in that range, the profitability does change quite a bit. Okay, and it's not something, again, one thing to keep in mind when you're looking at these things, it's like, okay, I think KASPA's price will be 15 cents for quite a while, so that means profitability will just double and people will just double this profit number, say, okay, it'll be 14 bucks. No, again, you're going to double your income, right? Which would be, easy math purposes, let's say 15 bucks. It would go up to $30. You subtract your 739, and that brings you to about $23 a day profit. Okay, so it would not just be doubling this number down here. Okay, so just make sure you do take that into account. So that would definitely look better, but again, it's at this point, it's so late in the game with KASPA's hash rate going through the roof, freaking their emissions reduction. It's an extremely hard sell, but realistically, if you are interested in the latest and greatest KASPA ASIC, or if you're trying to upgrade the efficiency overall on your fleet, definitely makes more sense to go with the KS7 unit over the Bitmain KS7 unit over the iceriver unit because of, again, the difference in performance and the price to terahash. Okay. But realistically, like I mentioned, I would probably wait because there's a very good chance that this guy's going to go down if KASPA's price stays sideways. This is the key thing here. Okay, because if it does go back into a range, it does go back up to 10 cents, 12 cents, and stays in that range, these profitability numbers are going to change drastically, and chances for price reductions are minimal. But again, if this tariff situation remains for these next few months, chances are it's going to go lower, right? So again, even if you aren't interested in the latest greatest, it's hard to say, yeah, definitely get it now, because the way things are looking, might be better deals down the road. But again, this is where it's really hard to say. We don't have that crystal ball. We don't know. But at the end of the day, if you are, it's only the Bitmain unit. The iceriver unit at that price point doesn't make sense. The only one you can make the argument for would be maybe the little guys. The KS7 Lite is somewhat appealing only because from the at-home perspective, it's going to be the best at-home ASIC. Gold Shell's not going to be able to touch it. We'll see if maybe another random manufacturer pops in, but the advantage here would be to see how we do when 10 blocks a second comes, which will be here in the next few weeks, actually, right? Theoretically, your odds of hitting a solo block are going to go up 10x. Okay, so there's theories on the possibility of that kind of changing the game in that aspect as far as having lower hash rate, being able to remain profitable because of that. Will it change the dynamics of pool mining and have more people solo mining because of that? Who knows? I wouldn't necessarily count on it, but count that as a possibility, right? So even if you are interested in the smaller guys, chances are, again, if the larger KS7 unit goes down, the KS7 Lite's going to go down, right? It's going to trickle down. So for me, overall, I would definitely wait. Realistically, me personally, I wouldn't be interested in any of them at these prices. Even if they were to go lower, for me personally, it'd be a no, right? Because again, my mindset is, do I think KASPA ASIC mining will be profitable come the bear market? Honestly, no, unless KASPA's price action really moons these next few months, goes like over $1 and the retrace is like 30, 40 cents, right? Then obviously the dynamics change. But on its current trajectory and because of the aggressive emissions reductions, it's just not appealing to buy a unit like this. The very few units I would be interested in, for the most part, at least the large units would be something that I would believe would be profitable, or at least break even or better, even through the shitstorm of the bear market. That may or may not come. Again, all this stuff is theoretical. We don't even know if that's going to happen again. To me, I believe it will, and I would factor in it happening just as a possibility at least. Okay, so we'll see what they do with these prices, but do not be surprised to see price reductions, or do not even be surprised to see this thing go down even before it starts shipping, just like we saw with the A0, right? So I would definitely hit the pause button. I would think about other things. Number one being even just buying the coin, right? Again, for $6,000, you could probably buy a crap ton of KASPA. Yeah, $6,000, you could buy about 78,000 KASPA. Okay, that's a lot. Chances are, based on if you were to like break it down, look at the emissions reduction schedule and accounting for how much the hash rate difficulty is going to go up, in the amount of time of the peak bull market, I highly doubt you're going to be able to recoup that, right? Let's take a quick peek, actually. Let's look at the KS7. Again, you would be making about 194 per day. Okay, so let's do some easy math. Let's take that 78,000. We're going to divide it by the 194. Yeah, 400 days, right? And that's if nothing changes, which we know no matter what. Even if you are the only person to buy this unit, the emissions reduction alone on a monthly basis is going to get you. Okay, so for me, at these prices, it's an absolute no. Like, even if KASPA were to rip tomorrow, it goes up to 15 cents, it still wouldn't be worth it just because, again, the price of KASPA is so low. You're 100% going to be better off just buying the coin. Again, there's an argument for the smaller guy because it being so much cheaper, you're getting a small portion. You may do successful on the solo mining. That one wouldn't be bad even if you're just trying to support the network. You have that whole phase. But in terms of the big boy ASICs, which again, if you're buying a big boy, is because you're trying to get that return. In this case, it's just KASPA's current price is just so low, right? It would be a different story if we were in the position where we thought we would be at this time with a 15, 20, 25 cent KASPA, then this would all be completely different, right? Which is realistically why they kind of waited so long to release these guys. Realistically, these guys were probably ready quite a while ago, but now they're just like, you know what, this is taking forever. The amount of time in the bull market's running out. Let's drop this thing now. Okay, so overall, to each their own. Again, there's going to be different situations. There's going to be some of you guys who have 2-cent electric or free electric. Then things are going to be quite different, right? Because again, that's the big differentiator, is having to pay that electric out of pocket. Okay, but I mean, even in this case though, it just kind of doesn't make sense, right? A 400-day ROI, which is not realistic. Again, the hash rate's going to go up. The emissions are going to go down, right? So for me, it would definitely be a no-go, at least on the big guys. Maybe the small guys, we'll see. But let me know in the comments, guys, what do you guys think? Do you guys are kind of in agreement? Do you think it's kind of over? Do you think it's kind of been over, right? Realistically, the last gen was probably the last gen worth maybe buying, even for long term. Let me know in the comments, guys. Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I am out.